What a crazy episode of Gundam: The Witch of Mercury. uh, Suetta's broken. Like, they have literally shredded Suletta. And I am really curious at this point what they're going to do with her. I am putting all my trust in there that they're going to do something cool with her, but dang, they took away her sister. They took away, which is Ariel. They took away pretty much her entire existence. She has been so dead focused on the idea that Mirin is my bride. We're going to be married. I'm going to do everything I can to help Mirin. I'm supporting her in every way, shape, or form. I'm not going to lose any duels. I'm going to do exactly what she wants. I'm excited for her next birthday. We're going to finally be adults. We're going to get married. I'm talking about rings and wedding dresses and everything. And then literally all that's taken away. Just ripped from her. Ariel has been given up in the duel. They took away her outfit, which is literally like the signification that she is married to Mirin, and it's like basically her wedding dress. They've taken everything from her, and she's massively broken. And I really do hope. It's like I didn't like it. I didn't like this whole thing, and I'm feeling really bad for Suletta. But she's become so one-track mind. She's always been basically one-track mind. But it's like one of those kind of build-up points to this moment where I'm like, they could do something really, really cool with this character if they do. Because a big complaint that a lot of people had for Suletta early on was this idea that she's so single-track mind, she's super ganky, she's kind of doesn't fit the environment. And me and many other people that know Gundam are like, they'll do something with her. Don't worry about it. It's like they always start out with these like very simple-minded characters, and they grow over these series. And so I just know that at some point they're going to do something crazy with her. And I think when they started getting the idea that she's so brainwashed and she's so dead set on what her mother told her, she does anything for her mother and all this kind of stuff. The fact that Miorin picked up on it, Gyul picked up on it, all these characters are picking up on it, shows me that the writers are self-aware of this, and this could be this big, massive breaking point for her to rebuild as a different character. Now, there is still a little side of me over here that's like, yeah, but it could also turn this one of those things where Glassly versus, Gun Arm Inc. And at some point, Sadiq has Miorin cornered, and then Suletta gets all panicky after being depressed for 5 episodes and goes, I have to save Miorin. And then suddenly Ariel wakes up and busts out of this chamber and goes to Suletta, and then that's her growth, is that she just screamed. It could go that route. But I have hope in these writers that there's going to be some really great growth point for Suletta that really makes her not just listen to her mother, not just say the same line over and over again, that she really does gain her own courage to go get what she wants. Like, she's so set on whatever mom says, and then now it's whatever Miorin said, as long as it doesn't conflict with what mom says. Now it could be, this is what I want. I want my sister back. I want to grow. I want to be strong. Because let's be perfectly honest, Prospera is not going to let Suletta be out of the picture. She's saying that to get Miorin on board, but she's not going to let, Suletta be out of the picture. And I think more so now than ever, because it seemed to indicate this episode that Suletta reached the permit score she needed to reach. She got super glowy, much more glowy than usual, and Prospera was looking happy. I think Suletta in this episode, what was it, permit score 8 I think it was, or 6 or 8? I think she was 6 before, and now she needs to get to 8. I think she reached it. Whatever permit score they need to reach for Quiet Zero, she reached it. Also indicated by the fact that Suletta, seemingly with Ariel, took control over Gwyl's bits that were kind of flying around. So that goes into that whole theory of the idea of that when she gains that point where she's at that permit score, she's able to send that data to somebody else. And that Quiet Zero is this idea of broadcasting that further. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm really hoping they nail Suetta's growth, because to be perfectly honest, with every other character seeing such massive growth and so many changes, I mean, Gwyl alone, which we assumed was going to be the case. I think the only character in this entire series that hasn't had that point of change and growth is Suletta. She's being left behind by the rest of the cast. And that's for a purpose, I think, but at the same time, it's like, at some point, we're going to go, it's your time, Suletta. Like, when are you going to do something with Suletta? And I think this is the moment. The major breaking point where, like I said, everything symbolic and everything physical has been removed from her. But yeah, the rest of the episode was great, I guess. Different perspectives. I think the cool one is from Miorin's perspective. We obviously see that she, through wanting to protect Suletta, doesn't want her involved, Okay, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to run away? All right, I'll take over this whole Quiet Zero thing. That's fine, whatever. But it was interesting that later on, one of the pawns that she decides to take under her wing, tools that she needs for her progress to become president, was Gyul. And it wasn't as simple as Gyul's over here and he's weak. Gyul shows up and it's obvious that he wants to take over this company, to the Jetrk company, but it was, I think it was a specific statement that he made that made her want to choose him. He said specifically to Suletta, I need to take over this company because the only thing that I have of my father's left. Because at the time that she's talking to Suletta, he's talking about the fact that, yeah, you helped me face my father. I finally come back. I'm going to take over the company, all for the sake of this one thing that connects me to my father. And Murin heard that. And so she wanted to jump in and say, hey, reclaim your bride. Reclaim your bride. We'll become, wed. And I will support Jetrk company. I'm going to become president. You're going to support me. So it's a cool little kind of method for her to gain allies. At the same time, it's somebody with a similar purpose as her. She's not just gathering people for the sake of power, she's gathering for the sake of purpose as well. And it seems like both of them are on the same page about Suletta herself. That Prospera is controlling her, and despite the fact that Gyul loves Suletta, despite the fact that Murin wants to protect Suletta, it's all for the sake of having to remove Suletta from the picture to protect her because she's obviously being used by Prospera. They both know that. She'll do anything her mother says. And she won't give up Ariel. It's her sibling. This is a thing that's causing her to be a tool from her mother. We got to get rid of that. So despite the fact that the duel was supposed to be to marry, it was more about get Ariel away from Suletta. Shadik's over here gathering his allies. He's going for Pill Industries. Okay. Which I guess makes sense in the end because they've sort of been working side by side behind the scenes. But I think the only thing that was in this whole situation that kind of bothered me was Ellen. Like, randomly out of nowhere, Ellen just walks in the room where they're keeping Nika and just chills there. And you had Norie's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, same question here. Why did he just stroll into the place you're hiding Nika in? He said that, I assume that Glassley was working with the Gundams because this whole thing over here, I looked into it. Peel doesn't like me anymore. I can't go back to Peel, so I thought I would hang out with you guys. We're all criminals. Might as well stick together. And she's like, no, go die somewhere. It's like, okay, she's obviously against Ellen. How did he find this? And how did he just walk in the door? You guys have the worst hiding spot for Nika ever. Nika is a wanted criminal, and she's a part of this big plan, and she has all the knowledge that they need to go down. Why is Ellen just strolling in there? That was like, I think of like the entire series, this one scene bugs me so much. This one scene bugs me so much because it doesn't make sense why this is happening here. Again, technically Pale Industries and Glassley, they're technically coming together, but that's technically before Ellen and everything. It doesn't make any sense to me. It did kind of make me question mark with what everything that came up with the last episode. They had this whole thing where there was going to be one more duel, and the princess was going to duel, and she was figuring out what her bride was going to be. And that whole thing just kind of didn't happen. I guess it's just kind of circumvented by the idea that Gyul shows back up, and so her as a part of the Jetrk company doesn't care anymore. But it was like, why build up this whole thing about this girl from Jetrk that is gonna duel for her bride and that she's a princess, and then nothing comes of it, unless it's gonna be like in a following episode. Maybe she's gonna go after, maybe she's gonna try to duel Gyul or something like that. But no, I honestly really, I'm tired of Ellen. Am I alone on just being tired of Ellen? I almost feel like Ellen at this point has become just the tragic tool that's just going around and whining, and then what's gonna happen is his story's gonna end with him doing something stupid. He is literally the character they're building up to be the I do something really stupid character. Maybe he's the one that's going to take out Nika that I've been waiting for a while now. Not that I'm wanting it. I'm just assuming eventually Nika will be a catalyst to start something. And she's lined herself up as I want everybody to be happy. And that usually in a Gundam series leads to I'm going to die. And I'm going to cause chaos that I want to stop. But no, Ellen himself is like, just do something with him. I'm tired of him. He just shows up every now and then, starts to get all over Suletta. Suetta's like, no, please stop. And then he gets shuffled off by somebody else. Like, it was literally, I think in the previous episode, you had Norie and stuff come up and stop him. And then now it's like, Gyul just shows up and stops him. It's just always, he's heavy on Suletta. Somebody shows up, he leaves. And it's getting old. I do feel really bad about Gil. Like, he finally put everything in the words for Suletta, and she's like, sorry, I have somebody else that I like, and it's like, that's fine, Gil. There's much better girls out there. This is one of those rare cases where I'm like, I'm not really shipping anybody with Suletta. Just Miran's fine. If Miran's okay with it, she seems to be kind of off put by Suletta. But it's like, Gil, there's a lot of better girls out there. You got tons of girls in the Genter company that's perfectly fine for you. They're super cute. Be happy with them. Suletta, stay away from that girl. She got mama issues, like, to the millionth degree. Gil, better fish. Go find them. But yeah, the final scenes were fantastic. Just the build up to the downfall of Suletta. And I think that's the kind of a key thing to put there. The downfall of Suletta. The downfall of Ariel. She's been basically winning every duel. She's been holding up this line, and she's had the most power. And now finally they figured out a way to really take her down. Apparently through Belle. Belle put something inside of the Ariel that completely messed it up. Eric apologized to Suletta as she's been shut down. Gul was doing some amazing stuff before even that. Hats off to Gul, like just the grappling hook, pulled himself in and everything. He was brawling with her. But yes, it all comes down to the moment that she starts awakening everything, and again, I think hit that permanent score, all of it shutting down by the command of Miran. She locked her down and shut her down. And it was really cool, that whole scene with Miran confronting Suletta. Like, doesn't even put it into the question mark. There's no question mark. She just literally tells Suletta, plain out, there's no confusion here. I did it. I commanded it to shut down. I wanted you to lose. I knew it would shut down because I wanted you to lose. I'm taking back this outfit. I used you. She's trying to push her away, basically, at this point. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's kind of tropish, but at the same time, it's literally Miran saying, if you're at my side, your mom's going to use you. She wants Suletta to leave because she knows that whatever she's doing is side by side with Prospera. So if Suletta stays at her side, even after losing Ariel, she's going to get dragged back into it. She wants her to leave. I've used you. You were my shield. It was a trade-off. I told you that from the very beginning. I don't need you anymore. You've lost. Here's your pendant back. Get my wedding dress back and leave. In her panic, like I said, the breakdown is already showing in the idea that Suletta is literally screaming out to Gwen, let's go again. Let's duel again. I can beat you next time. Don't worry. Let me fight again. No, don't do this to me. She's losing everything. Which, like I said, really makes me wonder where they're going from here. The big massive question mark from this point is, what does Miran plan on doing? Without Suletta with Ariel, she has no power. Now, yes, Gil has his and everything, and nobody really technically has a Gundam besides the Fract, and there's obviously Glassly has access to a couple, but none that is able to use the permit scores like Ariel. So it's going to be like a struggle to find anybody. The Ariel's useless at this point. So what is their plan from this point on is the question mark. Obviously, Shadiq is after Pill Industries because they have knowledge in the Gundams, and he's going to give them full access to be able to do that. I think they still have access to the Fract, so that makes sense, but it kind of leads it to the idea that there's going to be, without Ariel around, it's just going to be pretty much a lot of people using just inadequate Gundams, I guess, until Ariel is reacquired. Or if they find somebody that can actually pilot Ariel, which I doubt it. That conversation was kind of interesting because it sort of implied that the Pill Industries people know that Shadiq did this. And I think it's kind of an obvious thing for a lot of people that are scheming behind the scenes that, yeah, Shadiq, you're not confused. You're not tricking anybody, because they said at some point they're like, well, Sarius would not be okay with us having this Gundam technology. And the way that kind of Shadiq brushes that off, they're like, oh, so what you're saying is that Sarius is not coming back because Shadiq is apparently the one that's supposed to be talking to the ones that have Sarius kidnapped, and so it's like this aspect of you're not gonna free him. And while editing, I find out that apparently next week is a rebroadcast, a recap. So, it looks like we have to wait longer for answers. They know the worst spot to put these stupid recap episodes. Great episode. Again, can't wait to see what they do with Suletta, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions. Top list, if it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks button down below. I also have a membership button down below. I greatly appreciate it, but supports the channel. You guys mean so much to me, and y'all take care.